SBC Media.
Welcome to iGaming Daily, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe. Supported by SBC Summit Barcelona, the industry-leading conference bringing you the future of sports betting and iGaming.
SBC Summit Barcelona is where you can experience the entire global industry coverage under one roof. Join 10,000 industry professionals for 3 days of game-changing conversation and education. Get your tickets now at sbcevents.com.
Hello and thanks for joining us on this latest episode of iGaming Daily, sponsored by the SBC Summit Barcelona. I'm Craig Davies, the editor of Casino Beats. For our latest edition, I'm delighted to say we're joined by Pontus Lindwall, the president and CEO of Betsson AB, and Jesper Svensson, the CEO of Betsson Operations. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
So we'll jump right in. We've seen the report from this morning. We saw a trading update earlier in this month, hint at another record quarter, words that were used in the Q2 report from today. So to jump straight in, first off, what was the key to achieving this and how do you ensure that you continue this momentum moving forward?
Yeah, if there was one single key, it would be to describe it. It's not... we've been doing heavy work for many years, and we have executed on a strategy that we decided upon like 4 years ago, and it's paying off. So we're really happy about seeing how the company now develop based on that.
There's a few specific regions we have to mention over the next 10 or 15 minutes or so. It might be something of a whistle-stop tour of Europe and LATAM primarily. Our first stop's going to be Belgium. In June, we saw the announcement regarding the acquisition of BetFirst, a simultaneous partnership with Group Pontus. Could you just elaborate on, first off, why the purchase appealed and why Belgium fits into the group's growth strategy and what BetFirst will bring to Betsson's European operations?
Yeah, we have been looking at the Belgian market for a very long time, obviously being outside of that market, and it's an interesting market. Once we came across BetFirst and started to look closer at it, we become even more interested, and we really like what we saw. The company is very skillful. They have a very good position within sports betting in the country, and also through the partnership that Betsson has with Group Pontus from France, we can support BetFirst with the A+ license, which will broaden their product offering. So it will kind of give them an even better position to act from in the Belgian market going forward.
So from here, let's nip across the border. Let's go to the Netherlands. How difficult was the decision to withdraw from that licensing process, and which markets can we expect to make up for this absence?
I mean, I think we have proven already. We have been out of the Dutch market for some time now, since we shut down our operations. And we have proven that we managed to increase revenues and profits strongly without the Netherlands market. This doesn't mean that we don't like the Netherlands market. We would like to be there, but we've been in some kind of licensing process for more than a year now. And we just had to move those resources now to other projects, which are more appealing right now for the time being. So that's why we withdraw the application for the time being. But we have not shut the door to the Netherlands market, and we may be back there in short or in long term.
So from here, we'll stick in Europe for the time being. We'll look at Finland. What prospects does Betsson expect from the Finnish market following forthcoming changes to the licensing model in the country there?
Well, I think the positive with Finland is that it's going towards a local license to the industry for us to participate in. So we're quite positive about the development in Finland for the time being. It's been a long-awaited development.
Excellent. We'll change continent now. Let's go over to Latin America. The Boca Juniors sponsorship was heavily praised in the report and beforehand too. Billed as one of the largest ever for Betsson. How will this be leveraged to strengthen the Betsson brand and achieve this rapid expansion in Argentina and throughout Latin America?
In Argentina, we already see the effects of this. Boca Juniors is a massive club in Argentina, not just in Argentina. It's all over Latin America and the world, I would say. And It's the club with the most supporters in Argentina, so we have got a great exposure already, and we're already seeing the impact of this also on our KPIs. But I think for us to do this also shows our commitment and so forth towards the whole region and the Argentinian market. We believe that over time, Latin America will be a great growth area for our business, and it's natural for us to do this type of investments into the region when we believe so much in the potential over there.
And we see a lot of talk of Latin America as a whole. We've just spoken about Argentina specifically. Are there any other specific markets you can mention what we're talking about when it comes to expansion within that area?
I think one market that is very relevant for us is Peru, where we are in a strong position, and they are also moving towards a local regulation there for the time being. So it's a lot of things happening within that market, and I think a lot of countries are following through on what both Colombia and Argentina have been doing relatively recently when they have been setting up a local licensing system. Colombia is also important for us. It's where we have our regional hub. We have built up an office and strong local presence there. But we are pretty much looking into every single country in the region, and I think obviously it's important to acknowledge that those countries are very different. They definitely are, although the majority of the countries speak Spanish. When it comes to product offering, payment solutions and so forth, it's a great difference over there, of course. But I think if you take the region overall, it represents a really good future opportunity for us.
We'll change direction slightly here. We'll go away from this whistle-stop tour around the world. Look at the B2B business. What sets Betsson's B2B business apart from, I suppose you could say, more long-term established suppliers? And which markets to that end do you envisage having the most potential?
If you look at Betsson has been doing B2B for a very long period of time, back and forward, but there is a long-lasting relationship in the SECA region that is doing really well for the time being. And I think if we look at that in isolation, what we are doing well with our partner and partners overall is that we listen to their product needs, and we try to adapt the product in line with how they see fit for their respective markets. So that's something we have been focusing on heavily the last years, the last 5 years, I would say, and we are really pleased to see that is also paying off.
Excellent. And we've touched on M&A. We've detailed the BetFirst purchase earlier and the positive impact that could have on Betsson. Can we expect Betsson to be dipping back into that M&A well in the near future?
Yes. I mean, we don't do deals like this one every week, but M&A is a part of our growth strategy. So we are permanently looking for M&A opportunities, and being lucky to be such a profitable company with a strong balance sheet, we have the ability to acquire more companies even after this.
And I'm very aware we're getting towards the end of our time here, and I know how busy you both are, so I appreciate you giving your time up for this. Just to conclude, if we were sat here in 3 months' time, reflecting on Betsson's third quarter, what highlights do you expect to be touching upon from that?
I hope that we will see that we will be able to say that sports has kicked off again, because now we're in vacation mode for most of the attractive sports events. So that's one key thing that I hope we will be able to conclude when we discuss in 3 months' time.
Excellent. Pontus, Jesper, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm now joined by SBC News' head honcho, Ted Menmuir, who'll be offering his own perspective on these matters. First off, Betsson certainly seems to have found its groove, certainly from where I'm sitting anyway. But to throw the first question to you here, Ted, what do you think some of the headline findings were of the company's latest quarterly breakdown?
Okay, so Betsson came to market, did announce a pre-trading statement that this would be an all-time high quarter. But I think if you dig in, it's just how well they're doing at every individual segment. Casino at an all-time high, very solid sportsbook results. I think I got them here for, the 13% increase to 60 million. And then the other one is they're making headway with the B2B products, another 65 million added in revenue. And you're starting to see the benefits out the acquisitions that they undertook in 2020. So, yes, they are flying high.
So you've mentioned acquisitions. M&A came up a couple of times in the discussion with Pontus and Jesper, looking at the recent acquisition of BetFirst and the headway they're hoping to make there. I know M&A comments certainly caught your attention from the previous statements. What specific markets do you think we should be looking at Betsson making moves at? Because they weren't shy of saying they would be entering that arena again.
Okay, I think with Betsson and M&A, you've got to separate out from its actual commercial strategy. It's a company that's actually looking for underpenetrated markets to enter. However, that strategy kind of conflicts against the reality of what is happening in Western European markets, such as Holland, Germany, and the Nordics. The acquisition of BetFirst is interesting because it's coming up against very, very kind of high-level restrictions happening in Belgium. And I think that there, Betsson is making early moves to taking a podium advantage, position and scale up in a very restricted market. It'd be interesting to see how they do there against their performance in more kind of underpenetrated markets, be it in Latin America or Central Europe.
I mean, Latin America is another one that we spoke in depth about, and I'm not sure whether that's the route you're going to go down on this next question, because we did look at a number of countries. I call it a whistle-stop tour of kind of Europe and LATAM. Did anything catch your attention regarding these countries? I know we spoke about Belgium, Netherlands, Finland, and a few countries in LATAM. Did anything catch your attention there with what Pontus and Jesper touched upon?
Again, this is going back to the strategy. It's been successful, and I think you got to look back at Betsson. And Betsson 2 years ago were in a bit of a hole, and this group transformation strategy of going for these new markets, for going for kind of fresh ground in iGaming has worked. But I think it's at the same time it's going to clash with, and they mark this in the trading statement. It's that you have headwinds coming in from Western Europe related to the Nordics, Belgium, and Germany. And it's again how they're going to balance that. I mean, I actually think they're expecting a much tougher H2.
So we drill down on the Finnish market a little bit for the next few minutes. I know we spoke about that in a little bit of depth with Pontus and Jesper, and we see the forthcoming changes to the licensing model that are coming in there. So on this one, feel free to adopt a wider scope, branch out from this Betsson tunnel vision if you feel you need to. But regarding these forthcoming changes, who is best placed to capitalise on those? Is it Betsson? Who are Betsson's biggest challengers?
Betsson is under no illusion that the way to make money out of Finland or to make money out of kind of any Western market now, it's a case of taking the podium place or nothing. It will look at Finland and Veikkaus and its transition alongside competitors as a market that it can take market share pretty quickly from, dependent on the regulatory transition and what is enforced. If you're Betsson, your commitment to Finland here is how much are you willing to spend? What is your outlay? The calculation here is how much are you willing to spend to become market leader, and how much is that kind of market lead going to add to the bottom of your line?
And we'll look at B2B a little bit here. We spoke about that with Pontus and Jesper earlier, and they were quite confident in making significant headway. With that respect, what do you believe they have to do to kind of challenge? I suppose you could say a little more of the longer established companies in that arena. Again,
from what we've seen from Betsson's B2B, is that they're taking a very active position in North America and South America to expand the product out there. I think they're kind of viewing that as the markets where you can get easy wins with fresh operators in new kind of jurisdictions. And I think they view that as a natural position for them to sell B2B services in.
And finally, we'll kind of look at something I looked at again earlier on. Pontus and Jesper were quite confident in Q3. I asked them if we were speaking at the end of Q3, what would their highlights be saying? You yourself touched upon that you think H2 could be a bit of a struggle. So what are you expecting through the third quarter and the rest of the year from Betsson?
Betsson have a right to be confident that the strategy is working, but I think reality points that there is going to be a severe regulatory tightening across Western European markets in H2. If I was a Betsson investor, I would like to kind of assess where they are at the end of the year in these Western markets. Because one of the things is that I think once the regulatory tightening happens, the reaction is that maybe they could be in a position to kind of increase their market share within these mature markets. And then I think you'll really see the Betsson strategy come to fruition. So it's not just kind of leveraging off new markets. It can grow in mature markets as well.
And there we have it. Thanks again to Pontus and Jesper and to Ted for joining us and offering his own viewpoints. That was the latest episode of iGaming Daily reflecting on Betsson's Q3. Until next time, goodbye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of iGaming Daily, brought to you in conjunction with SBC Summit Barcelona, being held at the Fira Barcelona Montjuic on the 19th to the 21st of September. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News Network or check out the latest edition of the SBC Leaders magazine. Happy reading.